Hello, everybody. Happy month 6 of food school. You are halfway through learning everything there is to know about food, behaviors, and everything surrounding your health. So, this month is one of my favorites. I always say that, I feel like, but it's about habits and behavior change. And I think I talked a little bit about this with you guys last month about how it's all in the systems that you put together. And there's a way to structure these systems because willpower will never get you far. It might get you to start, but it won't be your end all be all way of, dealing with things and going through things. So there's a lot of science behind this, and I wanted to teach you what I learned from a more therapeutic standpoint. Because sometimes when you learn these things and you know that they exist, it kind of shifts your mindset to be a little bit more self aware about them when they come up. So, by the end of this month, obviously, I'm not the best at graphic design, by the way. So, I've got some fun things here and there, but I like to just put high level information in these and mostly speak to you. Um, but by the end of this month, you will be able to understand your behavior changes and understand the hierarchy in which they occur so you can probably see them in other people. Know how to build a system to support that habit if you want a behavior change habit to occur. And you will also be able to track things better than you are currently, because a lot of the times people try to, make a change, but there's something tangible about it that needs to be done too, so that you can visually be tracking and just use different mechanisms that work for you. All right. Okay, so a little bit of background before we dive into the Transtheoretical model of change. Most people, I see this all the time. They rely on motivation and willpower, and it will get them started. But then in 2 weeks, maybe less, it's not going to get them anywhere. They won't have the willpower or the motivation anymore. So you see people out there and you're like, gosh, I just wonder how they eat healthy all the time or go to the gym every single day. And it's because they have built systems around these things. They are non negotiables. And if they do need to even tweak them just a little bit, they will adapt to make them still happen. So motivation and willpower, they're inconsistent, as we all know, and behavior change fails when the system that's surrounding it doesn't support it. So we have to build these systems first. But you have to know which part of change you're in order to build a system around it, because if it's too hard, you'll see what happens. So here's the Transtheoretical model of change. When I learned about this, I was like, oh my gosh, I can pinpoint myself in some of these stages and my clients. This is a great graph that I wanted to show you. You can feel free to screenshot this, print it out, study it. But something I do want to explain to you on the next few slides are that it's not always linear. So you won't always flow through these very strategically and methodically with a time frame or anything. Most of the time, we don't even know we're doing these. So pre-contemplation, the first stage, is not even thinking about it. Like, you're not thinking of changing anything. You're good with where you're at. Most of the time, we all fall into places of complacency, but in other areas of our lives, maybe we're moving forward. So a good example of this will be a new mom. She has just given birth. The last thing she's thinking about is dialing in her protein allotment, So that is a pre-contemplation. She's not even thinking about that at all. That's not even on her radar to feel like she needs to change. The second, contemplation. This is somebody who's thinking about changing something, whether that be for the worse or for better. So anything that you're thinking that's like, what if I changed that? This falls into this category. Preparation is going from the, what if I change that, to, okay, I'm going to get ready to change this, or I'm going to get ready to do this. Then you move to action. I am doing this. I am going to try to do this actively in my life somehow, see what happens. And then maintenance, consistent over time. So say you implemented that action and you're like, wow, I've been doing this for like 7 weeks now. I don't even have to think about it. I am in this maintenance phase, but that's not usually the case. Usually the case is we're in the action and preparation stages a lot more, because a lot of this will look like, for example, an easy one for me is Oh, I want to try to make coffee at home, right? That is, I want to try, like contemplation. I am going to make coffee at home. I'm getting the supplies. That is preparation. I then am going to make my coffee at home this morning. I made my coffee. Here it is, right? It tastes like crud. That's just an example. If it tastes disgusting, I'm not going to do it again tomorrow. Like, that is not going to be a maintenance phase. I'm going to go back to the preparation drawing board and figure out what the heck happened because it didn't work. And that is so common and normal. And you can go back and forth through these stages. I like this example a lot. Struggling, this is one of the most important things too. Struggling often means that you're trying to do work in the wrong stage. You're not failing at what you've chosen to try to implement. That means I get a lot of people that don't even know they need to eat more protein. And then it comes to their attention one day and they're like, ooh, I should probably eat a little bit more protein. And then they're like, the next day, they don't even think of, there's no prep phase. They're just the next day, try to eat only meat or something, you know? And then it's not going to work. That's just the wrong stage. You kind of jumped the gun, right? We're a little bit too fast. So we need to go back and be strategic about things and allot the appropriate amount of time to sit in each stage. A great example of pre-contemplation is when people are elderly and in the hospital and they don't realize they need to make a change until the doctor says something and they're like, I didn't even like, I was in this pre-contemplation stage. I didn't even know that. And then somebody told me, and I was like, shoot, maybe I have to do that. But in between this, maybe there's a 1.5 that's a little bit of resistance to change. So maybe the doctor is telling them something that they need to do in order to stay alive. And they're like, nope, you count me out, doc. I don't want to do that. Resistance to change. They're going to bobble here for a little while, right? That's going to take some time. They're not just going to be like, yes, doc, and immediately go climb a mountain because they said to add more steps to their day. So just a fun example that nobody really learns this until you do some therapeutic practices in schooling. And then this is so eye-opening. So feel free to screenshot this one as well because these are really interesting intervention strategies. This one is another graphic that I love because a lot of the time when you're going through these stages, you're not just going to maintenance and staying in there for like, let's just say like 10 months. You're doing something you're working out for 10 months, maybe twice a week. You don't just stop doing it and then go back to pre-contemplation always. It doesn't always happen that way. Sometimes you may stop and then fall back into an action phase of like, you already did it. You know you can do it. You just go back to the action phase and just start it again. So that happens, just to let you know another way that this could lie. And then, so this is also another reason of why most people get stuck, even though we talked about it a lot. I am going to beat a dead horse a little bit. A lot of the common mistakes, like I said, jumping straight into action. This happens all the time. I get nutrition clients who sign up and then they start doing things and they just signed up. Like, we got to peruse a little bit. We have to figure out what your goals are and what that looks like and how that action would be incorporated in your life realistically. Choosing habits that are too big, as you know, you can't just tomorrow. I'm not just going to wake up and be like, I want to lose 80 pounds. That's a ridiculous example because I would wither away and just die. But that's what I'm saying. Like, that's not feasible. That's physically not possible for me. That is ridiculous. That's another thing of maybe I need a little bit of help here, you know? Relying on motivation or willpower. It's just not going to work. Don't rely on that. Do it when you're scared. Do it when you're feeling sluggish, whatever that may be. But to a certain extent, you don't want to overextend yourself if you're like ill, you know? And then not adjusting when life gets busy. I really want to talk about that one for a moment because I work out every day. And people think of that as like, oh my gosh, how do you work out every single day? I'm telling you what, yesterday I had the worst stomachache of my life. And I could not make it to the gym. I just couldn't. It kind of came in waves too. It was a very strange stomach virus thing. I don't know what it was, but I was in and out of the bathroom 20 times in the morning. So since it came in waves, I knew I could not leave the house. I wanted to so bad. Don't get me wrong. Sometimes I don't want to, but in this instance, I wanted to because you never know when you miss your health until it's gone. But I do have a couple dumbbells here. I'm looking at them. I've got 3 sets of dumbbells. They're lighter weights. It's definitely not what I was going to do at the gym today. That's totally different than what I had planned. I sat on this couch right behind me and I did some, arm flies. I did some curls. I did a couple push-ups. I did some V-ups. It was not what I had planned. Like I was going to do some squats, back squats, heavy sled pushes, like things like that. I couldn't do it yesterday. Absolutely not. But I still did what I could because I knew, granted, I wasn't like keeling over the toilet throwing up. That's different. But I was just like, gosh, I have like these cramps that are horrible from something I ate the night before. But I still want to like get my movement in. So you have to compromise with yourself and you have to find the balance of that compromise. You don't want to overly compromise because then you're just going to make your life way too easy. There has to be a little bit of a resistance and hardness there. When you're like, okay, I'm going to grind. I can do this. But you don't want to be too lackadaisical on yourself, but you also don't want to make it so unattainable. Like yesterday, I could have just been like, all right, I don't feel good. I'm okay every now and again. Like every hour I have to go to the bathroom. But other than that, I'm fine. I'm just not going to work out though. Like I don't even want to move. I just want to lay down. And if it was debilitating, I probably would have done that. But I knew I could do something. And in order to just keep with my routine, tell my muscles, hey, wake up a little bit, I just kept it in there and it felt great. So that's what I recommend for that type of thing. So if you're like, okay, but like I know whoever's watching this, you have on the top of your head something that you want to do, right? And you're thinking about it right this second. And you're like, okay, I realize that I want to do it. So that means you're probably in one of these 2 stages, contemplation or preparation. If you're in contemplation, you're like, maybe I'll do it, maybe I don't. I'm thinking about it. Cool. Sit with that for a little while. Make a pie chart, make a pros and cons list. Like you don't have to go out to the grocery store and overhaul your pantry. Think about it a little bit more and how that would look in your life and what's feasible for you. If you are somebody in preparation right now, this is a great point to then pick something and figure out how you can incorporate that into your life. Drink 80 ounces of water. You can read labels at the store the next time you go. I put this picture here because get outside for 10 minutes a day. That is such an underrated thing to try, right? If you're saying, I want to feel better every single day, but one of these feels way too hard in this example list, dumb it down, make it easier, make it something that you think about and you're like, oh my gosh, that's like sparking some joy just thinking about doing that. So do that instead, or try that instead. If it feels overwhelming and like, oh gosh, too big of a thing, too big of an action, we got to make it smaller, bite-sized bits. So once you kind of pick something that's at the top of your mind that you want to test out, that gives you joy and makes you feel like you're going to get to your goals, you can start to try to make it automatic. There's a couple ways to do this. I'm going to move my little head thing, but I'm going to use an example that I use every single day. And it's this one. After I unload the dishwasher, I get to drink my coffee and make my coffee. I love my new coffee machine so much now that I've perfected it. And I just know that if I don't do the unloading of the dishwasher, I absolutely can't stand doing it. I think it is such a boring task. I don't like the clinking of dishes. That sound really bothers me, but I know it needs to be done, right? It's something I need to do to uphold my household and make sure my house is clean and then have room for the dirty dishes all day because we work from home. I'm rewarding myself after. I'm not even afraid to admit it. This is such an insane tactic. I mean, gosh, habit stacking will change your life. I recommend doing something like after I eat my protein on my plate, I will get to eat my bagel or whatever it may be. If you start doing this in your life, even for things that you feel like don't really matter, like the dishwasher and coffee scenario, you will start to accidentally stack these kind of routines that become second nature. I don't even have to think about this anymore. I roll out of bed, I go to the bathroom, let the dogs out, open the dishwasher and get doing. I mean, it takes me 3 minutes. I don't know why I hate it so much. But then I'm like, okay. Then I drink my water with my lemon, which I love anyways. It's kind of like a ritual before my coffee. And then I get to make my coffee. So that's my highly recommended thing for you to try. Um, and then to reduce friction, keep things visible and accessible. I am saying that first because I have a little sign on my dishwasher that says dirty or clean, and I have it flipped. That way, I know, oh, it's glaring me in the face. It's a big thing. Like I know it's dirty. And sometimes if Dean or I are doing it, we might take turns. He doesn't know if it's clean or dirty, so it's great. Super highly visible, accessible. He knows what's going on. I do too. Another example of keeping things visible and accessible. I like to add flaxseed to my yogurt, but I always stinking forget that I have flaxseed already, and I wouldn't put it on my yogurt because it was buried in the pantry. Could not find it. Such a small little container. I just keep it on the counter now. I keep it on the counter. I think of it all the time. It actually reminds me to eat my snack of yogurt. Just something small like that actually makes a big difference. And then that's some you could also do keeping a pair of gym shoes in the car, things like that. If you've noticed you're forgetting your shoes a lot, I've reduced the friction there. And then preparing. Oh my gosh, it's so underrated if you know you have a busy week. We all know when we're going to have a busy week. I think, yeah, things sometimes come up, but if you're not already looking ahead, it might be time to look ahead. We can't just be living in the same moment day to day. We need to make plans and prepare for our success. If you want to be a successful person, this is going to change your life, because what is that saying? If you fail to prepare, then you know what I'm talking about. You know that one. Okay. You have to plan things. I mean, as I become more and more of an adult, I've realized like we have a month planned out already. Like I know what's going on. It's in the shared calendar that we have in our Apple drives, right? It's just how being an adult is, and it's only going to get more and more busy with work and things like that. So please prepare. But in order to prepare, you might have to find a writing tool that works for you. So I use my iPhone notes. Dean has it's a tablet. It's called a Remarkable. He uses it. It's a notebook. It has a calendar in it. We make sure our calendars are synced. Um, I have the calendar, Apple Calendar, but I also have a work calendar which is synced. Take the time on a weekend one day or a day that you're off. Sync your life together, like make it very seamless. And if you want, you can talk to me about how to do that if you're having some issues, but writing things down is next level. I have a notepad here that I write down random things that come to my head, but that's just my dirty notebook. You know what I mean? Like it has a lot of stuff in it that I don't necessarily like really need to do right away, but I have a list on my phone that I then organize by hierarchy of what I want done and need done, by also category: house stuff, business stuff, personal things, dog stuff. You have to make those systems work for you. Next up, okay. This is going to fall. Oh, I have an extra little period right there. Whoopsies. This is going to fall into your homework, and it'll make more sense once I show you that. But you are going to track and adjust. So track your habit daily for 7 days or however many days you want, depending on what action and habit you chose. So then if your consistency drops as those days go on, you need to reduce the habit or make it smaller or easier for yourself to stick to or more pleasant. And then adjust your environment. If you're like identifying what the failure point is of whatever system you're trying to put in place is, the flaxseed example, I identified that the thing was I couldn't sting a see it. I kept forgetting. Nothing could remind me. I don't know why. And then simplify your plan. So if you have something that sounds really complicated, let's get together and let's make it super simple. If you're trying to add more protein into your diet, okay, we all know what proteins are at this point in this food school, right? It's meats. You got some dairy that has protein in it. Maybe things like tofu, maybe things like eggs and egg whites and other yogurts, dairy. But if you're trying to add more protein, you already know what all that is. Okay, maybe it's just, where's the failure point? Are you forgetting to grab it? Like you have plenty, but it's in the fridge and you just don't grab it. Okay, reduce the friction then. You need to write yourself a sticky note that's bright red or put a reminder in your phone. You need to kind of work with yourself and identify those failure points and be honest with yourself. And never skip, just adjust. Like I said, mentioned the workout yesterday for myself. So just adjust. It'll really make your conscience feel like so good. Like to know in here, okay, I didn't even lie to myself that I could have done it and I didn't do it. I did it and I did what I could. All right. Well, that's kind of my soapbox for today for you all to think about for this month. And I'll show you your homework in a moment. But some key takeaways. Behavior change, like we saw, happens in stages. Willpower is unreliable. Systems create consistency. Systems in your entire life. That's all this all is. It's all systems. Everything is. Everything we do. Every routine we create. And then one habit at a time. I wouldn't have it stack until or unless you're using it as a technique. So the dishwasher to coffee scenario, or if you're using it as a tool, that's awesome if you have like two habits built into one to get you somewhere. Small repeatable actions win, and if it's too hard, you need to make it more bite-sized. All right, your homework this month. This is going to be worksheet based. I have a worksheet. It's an action commitment worksheet for you guys in the Google Drive. And I want you to work through it based on a habit or two that you want to change. It's going to be a flow chart type paper. And then you're going to identify which stage of the Transtheoretical model that you're in, just to keep in your back pocket. And once you are done creating that action commitment worksheet and filling it out, this is just an example, but put reminders in your phone to follow through with the action every day, or write sticky notes, or whatever you have to do to then implement the action that you flowed through in this worksheet. And then you're going to do it this entire month or as often as it needs to be done. Say it's, I don't know, washing your car once a week. That's different. Like you don't have to do that every day. So whatever cadence that makes sense for it, that's how you're going to implement it. And then next month, just to let you guys know, this is like so exciting that we're getting into more of like a performance and an everyday athlete segment based on a little bit more technical stuff. I would love if you viewed yourself as an athlete, because everybody is an athlete every day in one aspect or another. Even if you're at a desk job, I promise you, you have to treat yourself like an athlete, because if you do, your mindset will completely change for the better. So if you have any questions, as always, just let me know and message me in the app. If not, I will talk to you guys next month. But please, yeah, share your worksheet with me when you fill it out. I wonder if I can show it to you right now. Let me see. Here we go. Let's see what I can do here. I hope you can see this. Okay. It is in your month 6 of the Google Drive. And this is what it looks like. So you're going to fill this out with the outcome goal and the behavior goal. So an outcome goal, I don't know, let's say lose 10 pounds. Behavior goal, eat X amount of protein or eat X amount of carbs. Chosen skill, chosen practice, daily small action. Okay, what are some skills you need in order to be eating this protein goal or carb goal? You'll write those skills there. How could you implement using these skills the behavior goal? So I would say my skills are, I'm a great baker. I am a great grocery shopper. I need to become a better list maker for groceries. Examples. Those are just examples. Chosen practice. Okay, I'm going to pick like a couple, and then I'm not going to implement all of them. Those are just options, right? We're brainstorming here. And then let's say the chosen practice is, let's say shop at the butcher once a week. I'm making these up as I go. It takes some thought. So put aside like 30 minutes to do this. And then choose small daily actions. So maybe it's pack my lunch the night before, focusing on protein, and everything else just follows suit. Or it's prep food on Wednesday nights before my night shift the next day. Examples. And you can just circle which one you want to do. But you can also revise them down here. So hang on a second. How confident are you in your ability to do these daily actions? If you are a 9 or a 10, you are great. If you are anything 8 or below, you need to change these daily actions because those are not realistic for you. Then what might make you more confident in your ability to do these daily actions? So once you're a 9 or 10, how can you even be more confident to do those? And then revise them. If it's less, you have to do it again, and here's your revisions, and then you're going to test yourself again on the confidence scale. And then you're just going to prepare. These questions are supposed to help you prepare to do these actions. There's an example down here. Whole entire thing. But then once you're done filling this out, I would love for you to tell me the actions that you've chosen. And then also, like I said, figure out a way to put reminders somewhere for you for these actions because it's easy to forget something that's very new that you're implementing. Okay, you guys. Well, I think that's it. But if you need anything, please let me know. If not, I will talk to you guys next